child, I remember unintentionally memorizing the countless commercials and the catchy songs that went along with them. Now I wonder, what kind of influence do commercials have on children? Well, according to a statistical website, the Rudd Center for Food Policy and Obesity at Yale reported that the average American child watched over 1,000 fast food commercials in 2016, but only watched less than 200 commercials advertising healthy juice, fruits, and sports drinks. Does this sound like a good influence? Well, advertisements are actually negatively affecting our children, even if we do not realize it. And the government should place more regulations on advertisements determined by additional research. Children are the workforce of tomorrow. The future of our world depends on them growing up to be strong and healthy. More than likely, they will be taking care of us in our old age. However, right now, it is our responsibility to take care of them. Today, I'll be explaining why children are so vulnerable to advertisements. I will also be explaining the negative effects of a commercialized childhood. In addition, I will be explaining how the government can stop the harm being done by eliminating certain aspects of advertising towards children. Lastly, I'll be discussing the benefits of stopping harmful advertisements aimed at children. So first, the harmful advertisements. Advertisements aimed at children are unethical because children have undeveloped cognitive abilities. According to a November 2017 article by Pediatrics website, the effect of advertising on children, called The Effects of Advertising on Children and Adolescents, children cannot detect persuasive intent until they're at least 7 years old. For example, say a McDonald's commercial comes on TV and is using a persuasive style of advertising. A child watching the commercial will most likely believe everything the commercial is trying to persuade viewers to believe. In other words, children do not have a defense system against persuasive commercials. Piaget's 4 stages of cognitive development can help us understand why children lack this mental ability. This theory is in a 2018 article by Saul McLeod on Simple Psychology website. According to this theory, there are 4 stages in child development: sensory motor stage, pre-operational stage, concrete operational stage, and formal operational stage. Between 2 and 7 years old, which is the pre-operational stage, children have difficulty taking the viewpoint of others. This is called egocentric thinking. And it could explain children's inability to identify persuasive content. Now that we understand why children are so vulnerable, let's look at how advertisements are affecting children. Advertisements aimed at children are causing negative side effects. In a March 7, 2014 video on Kids in the House, Dr. Jean Kilbourne, author and social theorist, explains some of the negative influence that advertising has on children. Dr. Kilbourne states, kids can feel jaded or even cynical, not just about advertising, but about life in general. She also explained that this is due to many products being advertised as the way to happiness. However, many times products leave individuals unsatisfied and discontent. Another effect of commercialized childhood is discussed in the April 2018 article by Stephanie Pleiades called TV Advertisements Impact Children's Health. The article states obesity is continuing to rise in the United States for children and is currently at about 18.5%. Also, there are positive correlations between TV time and obesity rates in children. Unhealthy food TV ads directed toward kids has increased since the 1970s, and the rate of obesity in kids has tripled. According to a February 20, 2004 article by the American Psychological Association, children who watch more than 3 hours of television a day are 50% more likely to be obese than children who watch fewer than 2 hours. If the upcoming generation becomes obese, and dies early from watching too many unhealthy TV ads, then who will take care of us in our old age? After learning about the harm being done by these ads to children, let us turn our attention to how we can solve the problem. Advertisements aimed at children can be stopped by both the Federal Communications Commission, or the FCC, and the President. First and foremost, more research needs to be done to understand the best way to combat these harmful advertisements. The President needs to sign an order to finance research towards understanding the psychology behind commercialized childhood. However, research will take time, so the FCC needs to implement immediate actions too. The same February 20th, 2004 article mentioned earlier by the American Psychological Association recommends that television advertising be restricted during programs directed to or seen by audiences primarily composed of children 8 years of age and under. They also recommend using advertising disclaimers at the end of commercials, in which most of the audience is composed of children. Lastly, let us see how implementing these solutions will benefit us. If the FCC and the President work together to implement these solutions, then we will see a decrease in obesity among children. Children will also be happier and more energetic. However, if the government does not pass these new regulations and orders, then our country's children will be more likely to die before their parents. Even though all this information seems to be overwhelming at the time, we can still learn a great deal if we focus on what's important. We learn that children are negatively influenced by advertisements because it is causing them to be depressed, unsatisfied, obese, and many other things. However, the American government can lessen the severity of harmful advertisements by implementing regulations and laws. The government should pass more regulations and fund more research on the study of a commercialized childhood because advertisements are negatively influencing our children. As I mentioned earlier, I remember watching countless commercials as a child, but undoubtedly, commercials are hindering the next generation from becoming healthy individuals, both physically and mentally. You may wonder, how can you help? You can help by encouraging your children to play outside and explore outdoors. In addition, you can support the new advertising regulations. And lastly, I encourage each of you to be cautious while watching commercials with your children, younger siblings, or any other child, because commercials have the power to alter lives. Thank you.